You mentioned that you started looking more into physiotherapy because of the personal test that you did when you were younger. When we had our intro call, I was messaging Annie like, hey, like, is this real? Like, do people, young people, decide their life based on a personal quiz? So I'm just wondering if by any chance, when you did the test, something else showed up. Do you think you would look more into it and maybe you would discover that, okay, maybe something else is interesting for me? Because helping people is quite a generic thing. You can help people in many different ways.
Yeah.
So I'm wondering, what is your opinion on this?
Oh, yeah. I think they're definitely, I've been doing a lot of reflecting on this because I'm actually now a mentor for the YWCA program. So I'm working with high school girls, like, going through the same thing that I went through at that age. And it's overwhelming, right? Like you're pressured to follow a path after you finish high school. And, not only is there that pressure from society, but then from a family perspective, there's pressures for what you should do and what you shouldn't do, right? And from my personal background, my parents were very much like, you need to get a good job that pays you well. And there needs to be some level of prestige to it, right? I think there definitely was pressure from like, pleasing my parents with, this is something like they've worked really hard to get me to the point where I am so I can pursue something to make my life better than what they have, right? And what's better is something that pays better and something that's more respectable because they were immigrants and they came here with nothing. And the more education I can get, then, it's going to be better than what they were offered.
You'll move up the ladder.
Exactly. And it's a safe place to go, right? Because it's almost guaranteed if you're in healthcare that you're going to get a job, that you're going to get paid pretty well. There's a certain level of respect in society for this job or for these professions, right? I think that's why I was also really drawn to healthcare because, Andre, you're right. Like there's tons of other things that you could do to help people, right? It doesn't have to be in healthcare. But definitely I'd be lying if I'd say that income wasn't a big influence for me. And like, what's the salary of a physio? That's definitely something I was thinking about. And it's something that I think high school students think about, but they don't really want to ask about.
You mean the money?
Yeah. Like how much money do you make? Right. Mm-hmm. And there's not a lot of, I guess, mentorship or guidance on like, well, how much money do you need? Like there's definitely, you need a certain amount to pay your day-to-day, but also it's like what that day-to-day looks like is driven by what context you want to have, right? And I think we are definitely given a sense of what that context should look like, and people feel the need to follow that context. But I think this COVID thing has definitely been a huge eye-opening.
The context you're talking about is a house, and you can go on vacation outside of the country every once a year.
Exactly.
And you can hang out with your friends and go to these fancy dinners.
Yeah. Go to fancy dinners, and like buy nice things, right?
Mm-hmm. Which is all not available at the moment, but everyone still lives. Yeah.
Exactly. And it's really interesting, Annie, that you bring that up because I definitely was reaching that point. I like got to a point where I was just so overrun with work. And I was working so hard to picking up overtime shifts so I could get extra day or two vacation off, or I could save a little bit more so I can go on vacation. It's like, why do I want to go on vacation so much? Well, to get away from work.
Yeah.
Right. Mm-hmm. And then it really, like something switched last year where I'm just like, well, what's the point of work then? Like, why don't I just work less or find work where I feel like I need less of getting away from? Right?
Yeah.
And I think that wasn't very clear to me back in high school.